providing the majority of its people with one of the world's highest standards of living. The United States is relatively young by world standards, being less than 250 years old. America was the first of the European colonies to separate successfully from its motherland. In its first century and a half, the country was mainly preoccupied with its own territorial expansion. In the 20th century, the United States emerged as a world power. It has not accepted this mantle easily, nor always carried it willingly. The United States still offers its residents opportunities for unparalleled personal advancement. However, the depletion of its resources, the contamination of its environment.
Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Marone says they are absolutely better prepared for this severe weather event. He says over 5,000 firefighters have been assigned to the Palisades and over 3,000 to the Eaton fire area. The state is also under a mobilization center set up by California Governor Gavin Newsom to assist with a new fire start. He says numerous aircraft are prepared, including military aircraft. "We're very well prepared," insists Maroney. A reporter asks LAPD Chief Dominic Choi if there is anything that can be done for pet owners, adding that some pets will have been without food or water for 7 days come tomorrow. Choi says people can go to a checkpoint and talk to officers, adding that Charity Humane Society is also going around. Up next is LA City Mayor Karen Bass, who recognizes the shock, grief, and anger the people of Los Angeles have gone through. "We have to stand together," says Bass. With the National Weather Service forecasting close to hurricane-force winds, Bass says urgent preparations are being made and that firefighters across the county are in proactive posture. She says that Angelenos must stand together and that the top priority is to protect lives. We're now hearing from Dominic Choi from the Los Angeles Police Department. As of 6 a.m. local time, LAPD has a total of 26 people reported missing in LA City, 17 of which have been located safely.
Who might replace Trudeau as Liberal Party leader? Former Bank of Canada and Bank of England Governor Mark Carney is the latest person to enter the contest. Trudeau's announcement that he will step down from the role after 9 years as PM. Liberals will vote for their new leader on 9 March. The list of potential candidates has narrowed in recent days. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc, Foreign Minister Melanie Joly. Labour Minister Stephen McKinnon has said the quick race. Former British Columbia Premier Christy Clark has also bowed out. Here are some of the names that have entered. "I've helped manage multiple crises, and I've helped save 2 economies. I know how business works, and I know how to make it work for you."
While she had long been seen as a trusted senior official, her criticism of Trudeau and her public resignation, born to a Ukrainian mother in the Western province, she entered the House of Commons. She was later named Deputy Prime Minister. Quitting last month, she criticized Trudeau. A 2019 Globe and Mail profile said, her steadfast support of Ukraine earned praise. Garina Gould, a former trade and investment specialist.
Senators will begin their public deliberations over President-elect Donald Trump's choice to lead the Justice Department on Wednesday, as former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi begins 2 days of confirmation hearings. Bondi spent 8 years as Florida's top law enforcement official and was the first woman to serve in the post, prioritizing issues like curbing drug abuse, advocating against human trafficking, and pushing back against the Obama administration's signature healthcare plan. She has also been a longtime Trump ally, having served on his opioid and drug abuse task force and later joining the defense team during his first Senate impeachment trial. Bondi also falsely claimed Trump won Pennsylvania in the immediate aftermath of the 2020 presidential election and later worked at a pro-Trump policy firm on legal issues and as a lobbyist. Now, Trump has picked her to serve in one of the highest-profile roles in the incoming administration, if she's confirmed by the Senate. Bondi took over as Trump's pick to lead the Justice Department after his first choice. Former Reparer Matt Gaetz, R. Flaw, withdrew from consideration after his nomination was jeopardized by allegations of sexual misconduct, including having sex with a minor. Gaetz has denied the allegations. After weeks of chaos surrounding Gaetz's nomination, Republicans have greeted Bondi's ascension with praise, and there have been no indications she'll struggle to gain support from GOP senators. Democrats are expected to zero in on her time at a prominent lobbying firm with censure.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte announced on Tuesday that the alliance would be launching a new mission to protect undersea cables in the Baltic Sea. The former Dutch Prime Minister, who took over the post from Jens Stoltenberg in October 2024, said at a meeting in Helsinki, Finland, with the leaders of 8 NATO countries located on the Baltic, that the mission would be named Baltic Sentry. Finland, along with Sweden, became one of the alliance's newest members in 2023, breaking with a decades-long policy of neutrality after Russia invaded Ukraine. It will involve a range of assets, including frigates and maritime patrol aircraft, among others, and will enhance our vigilance in the Baltic, Rutte said, adding that a small fleet of naval drones will also be deployed to provide enhanced surveillance and deterrence. The move follows a recent spate of incidents in the region that have heightened concerns about possible Chinese and Russian activities. Announcing the new operation in the Finnish capital, Rutte said that more than 95% of internet traffic is secured via undersea cables, and that some 808,000 miles of cables guaranteed financial transactions every day, totaling an estimated $10 trillion. We will do everything in our power to make sure that we fight back, that we are able to see what is happening, and then take the next steps to make sure that that doesn't happen again, he said.
President Trump has issued an executive order called Iron Dome for America, mandating the implementation of a next-generation missile defense system for the United States. The system aims to protect against various aerial threats, including ballistic, hypersonic, and advanced cruise missiles. This move has drawn criticism from Russia, with Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova warning that it could undermine nuclear deterrence capabilities and increase tensions in the strategic sphere. President Donald Trump has called for an expansive next-generation missile defense shield for the mainland United States, something modeled on Israel's formidable defenses, typified by its signature Iron Dome system. A defensive dome for the U.S., a country hundreds of times the size of Israel, would require massive scale, as well as space-based interceptors, and almost certainly be decades away. Yet on the piece of U.S. soil perhaps most vulnerable to missile attacks, the Pacific island of Guam, work is well underway on the kind of multi-layered missile defense that could point the way. However, experts say even that faces steep challenges. There are no fast or panacea solutions, and we are making the decisions late in the game even though visionary military and political leaders saw this coming in the 1990s. President Trump has issued an executive order to build an Iron Dome for America. The plan has drawn criticism from Russia. Simultaneously, Trump's administration has frozen funding. This move has sparked concerns among experts. The order has also faced legal challenges. Star Wars is back with an executive order, the order, issued on Monday night. But 2 blocks away on the same evening, the two announcements seem to encapsulate the administration's conflicting instincts in its opening weeks. Mr. Trump wants to build big and take the Space Force he created to new heights, even at the risk of new arms races. That effort has been underway since Ronald Reagan's day with only mixed results. But in its drive to shut down programs it believes could be creations of the so-called deep state, the administration wants to cut off funding for many programs that seek to reduce the chances of an attack on the United States. A judge paused Mr. Trump's spending freeze on Tuesday, but the president's intentions are clear. Though Mr. Trump calls his plan the Iron Dome, it has little if any resemblance to the Israeli system of the same name. Any system that will cover the United States will have to cope with a Russian arsenal of 1,150 deployed weapons.
An American Airlines flight carrying approximately 60 passengers collided with a military helicopter and crashed into the Potomac River. The incident occurred around 9 p.m. local time as the PSA Airlines Bombardier CRJ-700. The helicopter involved was identified as a Sikorsky H-60 Black Hawk. At least 4 people have been recovered and rushed to hospitals. The crash has led to the suspension of all takeoffs and landings. I just spoke with Michael Flores, who lives in nearby Alexandria, Virginia. I just gauged the impact of what happened and everything. My initial thought was more of just, how did it happen? I know it's pretty strict to fly around here.
Germany's far right is in a buoyant mood. On Saturday, while its conference was underway in the eastern town of Riesa in Saxony, Alternative for Deutschland, AfD, laid out ambitions to close Germany's borders, resume buying Russian gas, and, in effect, dismantle the EU. German media reported that parties' agreed manifesto includes plans to quit the Paris climate deal, exit the euro currency, and create a new confederation of states. The AfD's leader, Alice Weidel, even publicly embraced the term remigration, a word that's widely understood to mean the mass return or deportation of people with a migrant background. Thousands of anti-AfD protesters swarmed the streets in Riesa on Saturday, seeking to obstruct access to the conference venue. When Alice Weidel eventually took to the stage, she described the activists outside as a left-wing mob, and, in front a delighted conference hall of delegates, spoke of large-scale repatriations. And I have to be honest with you. If it's going to be called remigration, then that's what it's going to be. Remigration, she said. It's a striking departure from just a year ago, when she sought to distance herself from a scandal that centered on the highly controversial concept. There were nationwide anti-AfD demonstrations after it emerged that senior party figures had been among those at a meeting where remigration was allegedly discussed with Martin Sellner, an Austrian far-right activist who has a neo-Nazi past. Sellner has written about remigrating asylum seekers, some foreigners with residency rights and non-assimilated.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy thanks first responders. He says he spoke to President Donald Trump. John Donnelly, chief of the Fire and Emergency Services. He says that at 2058 EST, there are currently 300 responders on the river.
President Trump has issued an executive order called Iron Dome for America, mandating the implementation of a next-generation missile defense system for the United States. The system aims to protect against various aerial threats, including ballistic, hypersonic, and advanced cruise missiles. This move has drawn criticism from Russia, with Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova warning that it could undermine nuclear deterrence capabilities and increase tensions in the strategic sphere. President Donald Trump has called for an expansive next-generation missile defense shield for the mainland United States, something modeled on Israel's formidable defenses, typified by its signature Iron Dome system. A defensive dome for the U.S., a country hundreds of times the size of Israel, would require massive scale, as well as space-based interceptors, and almost certainly be decades away. Yet on the piece of U.S. soil perhaps most vulnerable to missile attacks, the Pacific island of Guam, work is well underway on the kind of multi-layered missile defense that could point the way. However, experts say even that faces steep challenges. There are no fast or panacea solutions, and we are making the decisions late in the game even though visionary military and political leaders saw this coming in the 1990s.
Today, we face a somber moment in aviation history. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom has expressed deep sorrow over a serious accident involving one of their aircraft. With 60 passengers and 4 crew members on board, the airline is fully cooperating with local, state, and federal authorities, as well as the National Transportation Safety Board. Isom emphasizes, anything we can do, we are doing, highlighting their commitment to safety and support during this tragic time. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has called the incident absolutely tragic, urging prayers for those affected. As search and rescue efforts continue, the focus remains on ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone involved. Unbearable sorrow, Kansas Senator. Kansas Senator Roger Marshall is next to speak. He says when one person dies, it's a tragedy. But when many people die, it's an unbearable sorrow, a heartbreak beyond measure. He says he and fellow Kansas Senator John Moran are here to say we care. We wish there was more we could do. He addresses folks back home, saying now is the time when we all have to join arms together and help each other out. He says it's likely that more than 60 lives have been lost. Officials have not announced an official casualty count yet,